Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Honorable Deputy President, Honorable Premier, all ministers of our government and deputy ministers, Your Worship, the Executive Mayor of Buffalo City Metro, all the distinguished guests, leaders of business and industry, our traditional leaders, DG and all the officials of our government that are present here. Let me, in my position as the program director, just welcome you to this important and critical stakeholder engagement program by the Deputy President. I think we are all aware that the Deputy President is in our province for an assessment of the impact of how the district development model is working. And he is here to touch base with all the stakeholders just to understand whether we are sufficiently integrated, are we aligned, are we accelerating service delivery in the interests of our people. So in short, that's why we are here today. We would request, with respect, that as more stakeholders are joining us, we would request that government officials should please respectfully give space for stakeholders to come in case there's an overflow. But that will be indicated by the team that is arranging entry into this main hall. But once there's that indication, we would respectfully, without really any undermining of government officials, they know that critical here are the stakeholders. So we would want stakeholders to participate as much as they can. Government officials, we're preparing this, they know exactly what we want to do. But we will indicate once that eventuality comes. Thank you very much. Quickly proceeding with our program, we will now have welcoming remarks from Her Worship, Executive Mayor of Buffalo City Municipality, new from the box, Mamchawe, to welcome everyone present here. Over to you, Mamchawe. Yeah, Honorable Premier and the Deputy President, the Executive Mayor has arranged her presentation this way. She will welcome and further present the DDM and the state of it. I think that's creative and it's time conscious. I think let's accept that approach.
Thank you very much, Program Director, MEC Williams, Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Paul Mashatile, and Mayor Mashatile that is here with us today, the Honorable Premier of the Eastern Cape, Honorable Oscar Mabuyane, the Minister of Social Development, Honorable Lindiwe Zulu, the Deputy Minister of Police, our DDM champion, Honorable Kasil Matale, our Deputy Minister of Employment and Labor, Honorable Buitumelo Moloi, who's one of our DDM champions in Buffalo City, the Deputy Minister in the Presidency, Honorable Sisisi Tolashe Chola, the Deputy Minister of the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, MEC of COCTA, who's our Program Director here today, Honorable Zolile Williams, the MEC of Rural Development of Public Works, Mam Kopane, the MEC of Rural Development, Honorable Nonkubela Peters, Dambona Nochawungenile Payan, Deputy Minister of Corporate Governance and Traditional Affairs, Honorable Amashe, who's with us today, members of the Mayoral Committee that are here today with us. I see all councillors of Buffalo City who are the host ward councillors, the Director General, heads of department, CEO and leaders of business, ladies and gentlemen, Mulweni. It is a great honor, Honorable Deputy President, to welcome you to our beautiful city, Buffalo City Metro. We welcome you on behalf of the people of Buffalo City and the Council of Buffalo City. We are gathered here, Honorable Premier, just 2 days after the celebration of the Africa Day to honor our diverse cultures and the continent-rich history. And the continent-rich history. Over the past 2 months, we have met with a number of business leaders and captains of the industry to find solutions to various challenges facing the city, equally to establish collaborations and partnership, Premier. I think I must say that we had a very good engagement with the leaders of the business sector. We had a full house. Some of them could not even get into the venue because people had interest to listen to the new leadership of the city. As Honorable MEC is saying that we're fairly new, we're 2 months as the newly elected Mayoral Committee of Buffalo City. On the 10th of May, Honorable Premier, I convened a business engagement session to outline the bold plans toward economic recovery, investment attraction, and interventions and concerns raised by the business. Honorable President, we recognize and appreciate the need to move with speed, agility in responding to service delivery backlogs, to collaborate with business concerns raised by the business sector. So we have listened to business. They have told us what they expect us as the municipality. One of the issues that have been raised by business is the issue of load shedding. And I think Cabinet has pronounced itself on this. We had a visit of the minister in the city. We further went, myself and the Premier, to Pretoria to engage with the minister and the chairperson of Mercedes-Benz. Your visit to Buffalo City Metro, Honorable Deputy President, gives us hope that through the District Development Model 1 Plan approach, we will address challenges facing the people of Buffalo City. Through the One Plan, in the next few years, we envision a well-governed, connected, green, smarter, metropolitan city region built on sustainable physical infrastructure, cohesive partnership, and diverse people who are safe and healthy and educated. The following were identified and concerns by the business leaders in our previous engagement. Government must create a conducive business environment through streamlining and ensuring that efficient internal business processes to make it easier for businesses to start and grow. One of the things that we're saying as the city, including with the chambers, we've got Border Chamber, we've got NAFCOC. We are saying that we know that government can't do it alone. For us as government to succeed and to make sure that we must make sure that we help businesses within the metro to be more sustainable in the metro by looking at ways. So some of the issues they are complaining, we know that, Honorable Premier, we're coming from COVID. People are complaining about our billing system as a city. People are complaining they are not benefiting from the business within Buffalo City. So we're looking into those options. The leaders told us that we must improve in infrastructure to stimulate the economy and attract more investment. As you can see, we're told most of the time that our road infrastructure is not in good condition. So we're trying as a municipality, and we're requesting through the DDM champions, which they are fully aware that we need to improve our road infrastructure. If you can see that when we go towards the airport, now by the end of June, we'll be opening that road. We're looking to have more roads that will build in the city, because one of our key focus is tourism as a city of Buffalo City, tourism that will attract more property development in the city. We are the home of boxing. We want to have an arena of boxing in this city. You need to have affordable finance and red tape reduction. I think DP, when we went to the election strategy, this is one of the things that we have raised, that in government there's a lot of red tape. So which needs us for government to help us to be more flexible. Through the DDM, government should improve transport and logistic infrastructure. The past 2 weeks I was in Germany. Part of one thing that Germans are doing very well is to improve transport, the transport and logistic infrastructure. You get out of a boat, you get into a train station, out of the train station, you get into horses, you take your bike, and I think because we are a coastal city, Honorable Maurice, so one of the things that we need to do as a city, we need to take advantage of to improve our transport. Buffalo City should move with speed to address the issue of inaccurate billing, which affects both households and business. Myself and the MMC of Finance were currently in that process to look at incentive, because we are seeing that businesses have been struggling for some time now in terms of the inaccurate billing system of Buffalo City that we have inherited. To address the energy crisis, which is a constraint to the manufacturing and growth of business, we're the home of Mercedes-Benz. The past weeks, myself and Premier, we've been engaging Mercedes-Benz in terms of the energy crisis. We're fortunate enough that the Minister of Energy visited us first in Buffalo City to come have engagement with the industry, but also with the manufacturing. We further met with the national chairperson of Mercedes-Benz in Pretoria, myself, Premier, and the Minister of Electricity. We're looking at different options on how to curb the load shedding in the city. The completion of the Settlers Way to ensure the free flow to the traffic towards the King Paulo Airport. By the end of June, we'll be opening the King Paulo Road so that we don't have traffic congesting when it comes to that area. The promotion of tourism through events. We're the home of boxing, as we've said. We have champions in this city. We're trying to improve our infrastructure. In the past, DP, when you come to Buffalo City, you will be told that it's dirty, but I think, Deputy Minister, in the presidency, you have seen the improvements. It's much cleaner now. You told us that as government, we must deal with the destruction of public property. One of the things that the DDM champions are assisting us, Honorable Castle Matala, who is the Deputy Minister in the South African Police Services, and Deputy Minister Moloi, is to help us with the Metro Police. We're the only metro that is governed by the ruling party, and we feel at times that we're told we're a rural metro. Our revenue collection might be a problem there and there, but I know that the DDM champions are assisting us. We want to have Metro Police, Honorable Premier, because we believe that if we have the Metro Police 24 hours, the destruction of public property will be something of the past. We can attract more tourism, we can attract more investment in the city. Siyacela ke, Honorable Deputy President, we want your assistance when it comes to the issue of the Metro Police. Business leaders told us that we must work with the South African Police Services, law enforcement agencies, and communities to fight against the scourges of vandalism and cable theft. This is affecting businesses in our city. You buy this, tomorrow you have to replace, especially with the economic climate that we're in. In dealing with safety and security, that we should accelerate the repairs of broken lights and install high mast light in strategic areas. If you can see now, ever since we took over, We've made sure that we have cameras within the city center as Buffalo City, cleaning and beautification of the city, including the nodal areas of the city. The public confidence has raised a major concern, which we are correcting. We are working together with Border Chair Kemba, where we have employed more than 300 to 400 people in the city in making sure that the city is clean. We want to expand that to other business chambers, Abonafcorp, to assist us, because we believe that when we have this arrangement with the chambers and communities, it will help us to keep the city clean. The maintenance of rural roads, filling of potholes, and stormwater management. One of the challenges, Honorable Premier, the issues of rural roads. You know, this is something that as mayors that we complain to you about it, that national department does not assist us when it comes to the national roads that are within our municipalities. It is a struggle, it is a strain on us as municipalities, because we are the ones who are communicating directly with communities. Communities don't know the Minister of Transport, they know the mayor of the town. So if there are national roads in our city, if there are national roads in our rural areas, it becomes a problem. And national government does not give us enough funds actually to do that. Also, Premier, we are looking into the promotion of agriculture and agro-processing as a city. Basically, we're a rural metro, we have land. One of the things that we want to do as a city, we want to promote agriculture. We want to learn from Ethiopia. Ethiopia is one of the fastest growing countries in Africa, which produces its own food and export that food. So we want to do that, and the Office of the Premier, through the interventions, is assisting us through that. Interventions and supporting businesses. Honorable Deputy President, as part of government's effort to find solution to the energy crisis, on the 4th of May, as I've said, we've met with the Honorable Minister to visit the city to engage with Mercedes-Benz in the Eastern Cape. So part of the solutions that we're looking into a battery storage that will be in the West Bank area, 15 megawatts battery storage in the West Bank substation. So we believe that this will help us, especially with the value chain that is attached to Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz might be functioning, but the value chain, these companies that are feeding Mercedes-Benz becomes problematic because they don't feed Mercedes-Benz in time. The second option, we're looking for an IPP within the Berlin area. So we need to make sure that we upgrade our infrastructure in that area. We'd like to request the Deputy Minister to engage the National Treasury with a view to accelerate the approval processes for the battery storage installation in the West Bank area. Part of our cleanliness and beautification of the city, a lot of progress has been made to ensure that Buffalo City is clean and beautiful. The clearance of illegal dumping, a refuse bag that has been distributed, Honorable Premier, these might be minor things, but this is what our communities want. We've also used the public employment program to recruit for the cleaning of the city. And we've seen that in other provinces like Gauteng, they had 6,000. Kaskenati sifumane nobango 3,000 as Buffalo City. On investment attraction and economic development, we see the metro as a catalyst for economic growth on the entire region. We need to collaborate with other municipalities as well to drive not only BCM economy, but the regional economy. As we know that Buffalo City, we are an economic hub. There's inward migration that is happening in the city. And at times, I think now we're feeling the pressure as the metro. So it is important for us as the municipality to assist municipalities that are around us. One of the things that we're talking about is the expansion of the East London Port. There's been a commitment that has been made in the past 10 years, Honorable Premier, but we have not seen any changes with regards to this. We're requesting that the national government to please help us in expanding of the East London Port, because we believe that this port can bring a lot of potential. Some of our goods are taken to Nelson Mandela, some of our goods are taken to Durban, but if we can expand the East London Port, it can help us. Recently, we had a delegation from China with commercial investment promotion within the city. With the war in Ukraine and Russia, they are looking into investing in agricultural projects, especially on livestock in Buffalo City, but also to look at opportunities for rice farming within the city. Towards the end of this year, towards the end of June, we're going to have an investment conference as Buffalo City where we're going to invite about 146 companies from China to come and assist us in making sure that we promote the agricultural products within the city. We want to tap into international markets only for the metro, but for all municipalities from Buffalo City to the Wild Coast to the Lesotho borders. We see the metro as a catalyst for economic growth of the entire region. We need, with other municipalities, to drive not only Buffalo City economy, but a regional economy as well. Our growth is intertwined with their growth. In March, I led a delegation attending a virtual business seminar between the city of Qingkong in China and South Africa. China is strong in ICT, or if I can say technology, hence we partnered with them. We are visiting them towards the end of July. They want to come also to invest in the city. So allow me to take this opportunity, Deputy President, in your intervention to make sure that we get more funding from Transnet to assist us in especially expanding of the port. Furthermore, I recently visited the city of Oldenburg. I'm coming from there. I'm exhausted, Premier, but I've learned a lot. One of the things that I've learned from the city of Oldenburg, nothing goes to waste in that country. People are proud of their cities and their countries. We've learned from them. We've been there with myself, with the MMC of Infrastructure, the city manager. We visited coordinated by international relations. Mr. Deputy President, the next session was on water and sanitation. You may wonder what was this to do with the economic development. I must indicate that water and sanitation plays a pivotal role in the economic development through our partnership. We've realized the importance of us working together in many levels. Firstly, we need to improve the water quality. Mercedes-Benz is not only complaining about load shedding, but the other issue is the quality of water that we're producing as a municipality, because 90% of water they use, it's their water paint plant in Buffalo City. So we had to go and learn. After we had these engagements, Honorable Premier, we had to go and learn from this city of Oldenburg to learn. They've given us some money, which I'm not going to say it now, to assist us. Siyabona ke Premier ndingaba meya bahambayo bangabuye nemali siphiwe thina imali that will assist us. We've learned on how they are, in terms of their energy solutions, on how their sanitation plant is run by the treatment, by using by using sanitation to generate energy. So we must say that, Premier, we are going to present those plans to yourself. One of the key focuses that we have as a metro is to focus on township economy. We believe that township economy can assist us as Buffalo City. There's a lot of potential. Buffalo City has a lot of potential in the city in terms of boosting township economy. We believe that government can employ everyone, but when each and every SMM is that take about 20 to 30 people will make a great relief on us as a city. So our primary role is to create a conducive business environment through streamlining and ensuring efficient internal business processes. I've said to the MMC of Economic Development, you don't need to understand your area. What are the areas that we are focusing in terms of Buffalo City? You need to understand the business people. You need to understand what mentorship program we can offer them. Are people benefiting from the 10 billion budget that we have? Bayakhala kabantu base Buffalo City, Premier, that out of this 10 billion budget, they normally don't even get 1 billion. So we've committed that the MMC of Finance and the MMC of Economic Development to work together in making sure that people of Buffalo City benefit from this project. We're looking in upgrading the beachfront of Buffalo City. We have people who have already come to us with proposals, working together with the BCMDA. So part of our catalytic projects within the city, we need to make sure that our bulk storage and road energy infrastructure which in the West Bank area, the West Bank Smart Logistic Hub, your ITZ, the Mdantsane East London Corridor Development, electricity supply infrastructure, road and transport corridor, the bulk storage upgrade, property development including regeneration of inner city and development of the beachfront. The East London IZZ finds expression in the BCM DDM as a key development intervention, commits more than 15,000 jobs created by 2027 through the ITZ, aquaculture and ocean economy. While reaching the economy, Honorable Deputy President, we also want the national government to assist us when it comes to that. The East London port expansion, I've mentioned it. We have now plans to have an international airport in Buffalo City. We support that move by the provincial government because we believe that that international airport can help us as a city. It will be based here in Buffalo City. It will help us to also fix the road that we go towards the airport on the other side. To extend industrialization footprint in the automotive industry, one of the engagement that we had with the national chairperson of Mercedes-Benz, they are saying that we must look at other options within. We must not only focus on the auto industry. It is time now as a city that we need to look at other opportunities that are available in terms of investment. We're also looking in expanding the King Paulo Airport. So in those few words, Honorable Premier and Deputy President, we welcome you to Buffalo City. Thank you very much, Nkosi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Worship, Executive Mayor. If we can please ensure that copies of this presentation are provided to His Excellency, the Deputy President, and the team, and the Honorable Premier. And if you can provide soft copies also, that would be good. Thank you very much, Chawagas, for the good presentation. Apologies, we understand you're still suffering from a jet lag. Yeah, so, but the call of duty made you to be part of us today, so we do understand, Chawakas. What I've forgotten to mention is that His Excellency, the Deputy President, is here with his better half, with his wife. Akahambi yedwa uDeputy President, Mrs. Mashatile is here. And I am tempted to say, andazi kutheni usiya engekho asinaba no premier uhamba yedwa, sifuna upremier makabe ne better half ya consistently futhi every event. Deputy President has set the tone, so makube njalo. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can we quickly go to the business sector for their presentations and inputs? I would like to get those identified to represent. All right, come forward, ma'am. Who else? You're representing the composite whole. Open enough cock, yes. Okay. Over to you.
Good morning. My name is Lizelle Maurice from the Borderkai Chamber of Business. May I acknowledge the presence of our Deputy President, Mr. Paul Mashatile, as well as his wife, Mrs. Mashatile, all our our Honourable Premier, all our ministers, deputy ministers, our executive mayoress, Princess Faku, as well as all MECs, HODs, all protocol observed, as well as our business fraternity. I see our councillors. You know, I don't want to leave anyone out because I'm going to get into trouble if I leave anyone out. So all protocol observed. And I want to say a special welcome to those who drive the economy, our business sector. Give them a round of applause for coming. I want to, first of all, commend our Honourable Executive Mayor because she is really on top of things. You know, business sector, we're very simple individuals. We just want the basics to work. Once the basics work, you know, it will assist us in building the economy, expand, etc. So, and judging from Honourable Princess Faku's speech, she knows exactly. I was ticking off the things that I was going to mention. So I'm not going to mention all of them as well because she's already mentioned them. But what I want to add on the load shedding, you know, we've come up with a solution. And colleagues, I want to say the Borderkai Chamber of Business works very closely with our Buffalo City Municipality. We've got a fantastic relationship. And we value that partnership with our government counterparts, because we work within their legislative and political framework. So just on the issue of load shedding, if they can just address the dipping, you know, because the dipping, you know, sometimes it dips for 1 minute, 2 minutes, and it's really damaged, you know, the revenue of our Mercedes-Benz, etc. Because, you know, it, particularly on the production line, you can imagine if the power dips for 1 minute, 2 minutes, the cars actually start bumping into each other. So, and then they have to write those off. So that is critical to address. The other thing that we need to address is the power surges when the power comes back. It damages our machinery, our equipment in a massive way. I mean, we've lost millions, if not billions, on machinery due to power surges, and the insurance companies don't cover that anymore. Anything lost due to load shedding, our insurance companies have made it clear they will not cover. And you can imagine how that impacts on our profitability as organizations. The other thing that we want to add is our education. Please pay some attention to our education system. You know, the young people that are coming out of our education system are not ready for the workplace. Work readiness programs, I mean, you employ someone today, and we really, really want to employ our young people, but you find they know absolutely nothing. You know, it is a struggle. And you sort of understand why companies say we want to hire people with 3-year experience, 4 years experience, because it really costs companies a lot of money to employ inexperienced people. The other thing that I'd like to mention, Life Healthcare, for example, mentioned, and all our corporate members are here, Life Healthcare, of which is one of them, said, you know, if they can just remove the cap. We are a country with a high unemployment rate, particularly in the Eastern Cape as well. Remove the cap on the amount of nurses that can be trained. For example, in our Buffalo City or Borderkai region, only 30 nurses can be trained per year because of that cap. That cannot be so, because our unemployment rate is very high. You know, it's 300 in the whole country. So that needs to be addressed, please. You know, because they can be trained at Life Healthcare's costs, costing the government no money at all. You know, private sector wants to train those people. So remove all caps on training of our unemployed youth. Our executive mayor already mentioned cable theft is a big pain point for us. And really, when it comes to investor attraction, I also think our safety and security, as you mentioned, the Metro Police. But I want to mention Executive Mayoress, our Deputy Honorable President Mashatile. Kidnapping of our business people is getting out of hand. Our business people are being kidnapped, and seem to me these crime syndicates have found an easy way to make money. Just kidnap and ask for ransom money. There's a saying in Nigeria that says, if you want to come to South Africa, it's the easiest country to come into as long as you can show money at the borders. Please prioritize looking after the borders of our country, because we're sitting with over 16 million illegal immigrants in our country, putting further strain on our economy. So really prioritize that. Make sure that the staff at our 54 border posts of our country are adequately equipped, and they are honest people that won't allow illegal immigrants in by the show of some money, etc. They are not only kidnapping our people, they're bringing drugs into our neighborhoods, affecting the future of our young people. So that needs to be prioritized, Honorable Deputy President. Protect our borders. The other thing that we want to mention, illegal land invasion is a huge deterrent to investors. Because if you can imagine, particularly in the Buffalo City region, illegal land invasions on economically viable land parcels. For example, your airport can't really expand anymore. And I know that the plan is to make an international airport out at Bayshore, but that international airport should have come to East London, particularly if we are trying to expand the harbour. Please, Honourable Deputy President, please give us 30 billion rand so that we can put it into our economy and expand our economy. We're asking nicely. We just need 30 billion rand to deepen and widen our harbour here. You know, and there you have an airport that cannot expand because of the illegal land invasions around the airport. With the result, we cannot turn our airport into an international airport. That title should have come to our East London airport. You know, so what my ask as a business community is change the laws. At the moment, if somebody puts up an illegal structure, you cannot take it down once they've been there for 24 hours. We need at least a week. That legislation needs to change. That gives law enforcement at least 1 week to take down that illegal structure, not 24 hours. 24 hours is a bit too short. So that's on illegal land invasions, because then what happens if people illegally invade, it gives rise to the izinyokas, which puts more strain on the grid of the city, because now illegal electricity is being stolen, and mind you, that money is passed on to tax-paying citizens that are now having to pay for these illegal connections of electricity due to the illegal land invasions. So that if that could be addressed as a matter of urgency as well. So lastly, greater coordination between government and business. You know, government is a great partner to have, because they create that enabling environment within which businesses thrive. So we need to work together. Government cannot strategize without business in the room. It cannot happen anymore. You know, we are at the critical moment in the history of our country, and we need together make this country work. I don't want to use Donald Trump's line, but let's both and all together make South Africa great again. You know, so that is critical for us. Lastly, Honorable Deputy President, you know, the cost of doing business has really increased significantly. Because of load shedding, increased cost of doing business, alternative energy solutions with solar panels, etc. The government should have had some tax breaks or something. You know, tax breaks in order to absorb some of the increased costs that we have now, that we are now faced with due to load shedding. I mean, we didn't know that we will have to budget now for thousands of liters of diesel, you know, due to load shedding. So somewhere they should have had some concession, reduction in taxes, reduction in the cost of diesel, you know, some sort of mechanism to reduce the cost of doing business. Because on behalf of business, I want to say, the first thing that resilient business people do is to protect their companies. And in order to protect their companies, the first thing they do when the cost of business goes up is to shed jobs. They start retrenching people. just so that they can keep their businesses. So those are the few points that I want to bring to the table, and I'm sure our other colleagues are going to come and even add more to that as well. But I want to say thank you so much for inviting us to this breakfast, for coming to hear our plight. But Honorable Deputy President, let not this engagement end here. We need a follow-up, we need feedback to what is being done to address our grievances as business. Thank you so much, colleagues.
Thank you. Malbonga. You should have said it. Engathi akalifuni eli lizwe lamakhosikazi. Kudala izanywa engathi ayilungi dadewethu. Kudala nilizame engathi alivumi nomsikelelo. Thank you very much. Let's acknowledge Honorable Minister Nxesi. He indicated that he will arrive a bit late, so we noted that, Honorable Minister. You are welcome. Feel free. We will now hand over to Navcock to proceed with the presentation from business. Thank you.
Malbongwe. Kamala Makhosikazi. Thank you very much, Program Director. Let me take this opportunity and humble greet our Honorable Deputy President, Utata Paul Mashatile, who saw it fit to be with us here this morning at Buffalo City. Our Honorable Premier Udia, the ministers that are here, all of them, deputy ministers that are here, our honorable and favorable mother of Buffalo City, Umamchawe Umafaku, a newly born baby. But when you look at what she has done, it's as if she has been here for over 100 days already. The mayors that are here, deputy mayors, HODs, government officials, everybody that is here, my business counterparts, all protocol observed. Program Director, it gives us a huge pleasure for us as Navcock to be part of this gathering today. Fortunately, because Navcock, as a highly organized and credible black business chamber, is having presence in all 8 regions of the province, they are actively participating and are already pushing up programs and working with district municipalities. Because of that, yesterday, Navcock was with the Deputy President in Lusikisiki. I was there as a provincial chairperson of Navcock, Ndingumama uXhwayita Zithutha. So I presented in Lusikisiki on behalf of Navcock. What we have done today, the resolution that we have made, Premier, is that today we are going to be calling on and allowing the provincial chairperson of the youth in BCM, because as Navcock we have a women chamber, youth chamber, and a chamber of people with disabilities. So because youth is always not heard, and youth at times, although they are young lions, they don't have a chance of coming and airing out the challenges that they face as business people. So I'm going to be calling upon the regional chairperson of the Navcock youth in Buffalo City to come to the podium and present on behalf of NAFCOC. Can Buhle come in?
With all protocol observed, I'd like to greet the House at large. Igama ngubuhlali wakwaBuzani. Ndibulise ku Deputy President. Ndibulise ku ministers ezikhoyo apha ngaphakathi. Ndibulise ku MEC abakhoyo apha ngaphakathi. Ndibulise ku Mayor wethu simthandayo uMafaku apha ngaphakathi. Ndizobulela ku leadership yakwa NAFCOC in terms of undibestowa eluxanduva lungaka bandimela abantu abatsha abe BCM. Eyona nto ke that I would say is most pressing is to understand that there's a quote that I love so much, and I'll paraphrase it. It says, "The child that is not embraced in their community will burn it down to feel its warmth." And as young people, we have realized, Upper NAFCOC, especially in the business fraternity, that for a very long time, whenever young people are spoken of, we are spoken of as liabilities, expenses. When we are not so often considered as assets in terms of economy building. So we are trying to say as NAFCOC youth here in the BCM that we are co-creators. We want to be part of the development. We don't want to be sidelined. We are not meant to just echo. We want to contribute to the cause. One of the solutions, we have 3 solutions that I'm going to pose here, and then I'm going to go and sit down. The first one is to say, in terms of the district development model, we have seen and we have sat down as the youth of a BCM, including our mother body, and we have realized that there is what is called NEDLAC when it comes to parliament issues and when it comes to the national country deputy president. NEDLAC plays a very instrumental role in terms of creating policies. And what we have done is to break down the word policy in terms of what does it mean at grassroots level, because when many people think of policy, they think of the briefings that are being held, that have to be held at community halls, but politics is who determines who gets what, when, and how. And our people are able to determine that. So one of the things that we have realized is that in terms of the model of NEDLAC, you'll find that the Black Business Council sits there, you'll find that private business sits there, you'll find that there's civil society, you'll find that there's the International Labour Organization that sits there, you'll find that there's trade unions that sit there on behalf of laborers, right? But here, imagine now if we can be able to use that very same model in terms of the municipal level, right? You've got your council that we bring ideas to, and then we could have a parallel structure, which is now the council that sits as a MEDLAC, right? Not a NEDLAC, that is at municipal level, that brings the cohesion of society, because we know that to build a community takes each and every individual. No one should be left behind. So that's our first submission, a part of all our brilliant plans or ideas that we have for this metro. The second one is to say, one of the things that we acknowledge is our strengths. For a very long time, you'll find that there's been a paternal approach when it comes to the Eastern Cape. People will come from the outside and tell us how to develop our communities. But now we are saying that we recognize that agro-processing, which is the land that we have, plays a very pivotal role in terms of our development going forward. And we have acknowledged that that is a key asset to us. And we want to ensure that we introduce it. But how do we introduce it? We've got a concept that we call one garden, one home as NAFCOC. So what we're saying is that for each and every household, there must be a garden that is planted. And there is a pilot that we are going to currently run in Cholomna to see this thing going forward. Because we've got... We always talk about these things from a very big level, but the truth of the matter is, you can't expect me to stand in front of you, but I have not made my bed today. So it's very important that we start, charity begins at home, and it starts in our small settings. We need to promote inclusivity. So those are one of our key values as NAFCOC going forward. So that was the second point I was raising. The third point is one I'm very passionate about, and it's localization. It was to say that for a very long time, there's a myth that has been going on which is not true. I would like to debunk it today. Pakistani and people that come from, the foreigners that come into our communities, do not gather in groups of 8 and go and buy from Jumbo to get cheaper prices. I've seen it in my community. I come from Tanzania. Gufika iphela, lifike lidrop off grocery yakhe, they buy individually. But that narrative has been taught to us so that it can dismantle us in terms of empowerment and ownership in our communities. So one of the things that we are saying is that we want to have a franchise model of spaza shops. Not just spaza shops that will sell usually groceries. No. We've got containers. I'm a simple example. I converted a container that I got from the NYDA. Our honorable mayor was still the branch manager there. I got that container as a young person as I think I was 21 at the time. I converted it into a salon. It's by Ekoneni Puchari now, and it's operating, employing more than 5 people. So a simple example is to say that when we speak of spaza shops, we're not just speaking about groceries, we are speaking about innovation. We are giving young people spaces, we are giving people of the community ownership. There's land, the land that I use there, I've got a lease from the municipality, I was able to get it. Now imagine if we can bring that ownership to the people of our communities, which is what they need. Just in closing, I would like to say, our ask and our plea is to say, we have a mandate here in the BCM, and currently we're in talks with the mayor and talks with the councils. But it's to say from you, Deputy President, how can you endorse our 2 programs that we are wanting to run, which is the first one? The first one, which is the One Garden, One Home. The second one, which is the Spaza Shops Initiative. We are not saying we are expecting a lot of money. We are saying that we would like at least 10 million to pilot here in the BCM as a commitment and a pledge from you. We appreciate you and thank you. Amen.
Thank you very much from the Youth League of NAFCOC. The business sector, we've got no sufficient time, so you'll have to manage your time. And I can see there's a lot of associations that we have in the province. And the disadvantage of being disintegrated creates problems when you are to represent a view from the business community in the province. So the Deputy President, as he comes back to assess again, I think we need to be more coordinated as business. FABCOS will present 5 minutes. 5 minutes will present, and then black management follow immediately. And that's it.
Kule 5 minutes ninikiweyo mandibulise ku Deputy President, i-ministers ne-deputy ministers eziphakathi kwethu, our Premier and his MECs, our Executive Mayor and her MMC, to my colleagues in the business fraternity and everyone present here, including the media. My name is Sinethemba Kaiza. I'm representing FABCOS, which is a national chamber that has representation here in Buffalo City. Kule 5 minutes ndinayo. I will start off by saying we appreciate this engagement, Deputy President. We not appreciate it because we are not being provided to it by our local municipality. We appreciate it because it gives us direct communication to the top leadership, which will assist both the executive mayor and the premier or the provincial leadership in escalating any issues, especially those that are related to policy. Touching on the issue of policy as well, one of the most important ones that we believe is key is that we would honestly appreciate if there were to be some sort of consequence management. We believe that one of the main reasons that makes most of our businesses fail is because the 30 minutes that passes by when one is due for their invoice payment leads to the certain seed capital that we needed to facilitate a project to incur interest because we have to borrow some monies. When we borrow that money at 15%, which was, let's say it was 100,000 at X time, on month 2, that 15% is now 200,000, but that invoice is not gonna be paid inclusive of that amount. And we are not saying this because we are hitting or throwing stones at our public servants. We are just saying that if there's honestly consequence management, at least it will be easy for them to push the invoice from one person to the last person within 30 days. At least that should not be too much to ask for. Failure to do so, many businesses will continue to fail because invoices will not be paid in time, because when invoices are paid, that invoice has incurred so much interest that the business owner has no profit to make. And then also one of the most fundamental ones, today or yesterday, yes, SABC had a call last year in August for submissions for commissioned productions. I submitted there. I only received feedback yesterday that they received about 998 applications. They've processed 668 so far. Out of those processed, Eastern Cape had not been processed so far. We're in now May, June, July, with 3 months. So within 3 months, it will be a year after I've submitted an application, meaning my application has not been perused so far. We honestly need to work around such timeframes because by the time they commission that production, all the people I've asked how much their budget will be, they would have increased their rates. By the time that I'm being awarded that money, if I am awarded, then that budget I had submitted is no longer correct. The same applies to each and every other funding that government, or either grant or loan, by the time you get awarded, each and every other cost item has increased in their cost price. So we really would appreciate it if at least a maximum of 6 months for applications to be processed. If need be, hire more interns. Through CETAs, we can at least mitigate the human capital expenditure on that one. But the most important one is that lead times on your projects rather, you must drastically cut them out to assist both business and NPOs, because this one also directly affects NPOs as well. Part of, we appreciate having such expensive and such high-class institutions in our city. We appreciate as well their utilization. However, we also have black-owned hospitality establishment. We believe that at least if there could be a ratio as it was done with any other tender that 30% must go to black-owned businesses. We feel that even with the hospitality sector, let's say with your people that were booked here at this particular establishment, you spread it across that at least 1 or 2 black-owned B&Bs or guest lodges also get a small piece of the pie. Why? Because the corporate sector, especially those big multinational companies, in most cases, they make use of these well-established 5-star establishment. And then those ones that are still crumbling up, that are mostly black-owned, about 80 or 90% of their utilization largely depends on government. So when government has to procure hospitality, we feel that they should dedicate a huge portion of that to black-owned establishment, because white or huge multinational companies by default tends to prefer these well-established hospitality industries. That is how the hospitality industry can grow, by at least having government pour in their money so that from the profits that those black establishments will make from government, they can then start to growing up those creating from the tourism industry. Then from taking off from the procurement as well, one system that we believe can assist is having a public or business integrated system whereby we know as a community or as that participant, when, for instance, SARS and CIPC, you don't need to do any collabs or as to when is the status of your application. By default, when each and every person in the value chain processes your application, they issue out an email. If within the submission of invoices or procurement or funding as well with any other government institution, there can be such a system whereby the human that is behind the system doesn't need to by themselves issue out a notification that your application has been processed. The system itself sends out that notification. It will then be easy to track the time frames that it takes for that to be implemented, as well as for us as a community as well to know if there's a 10 billion contract that has been issued out, it mustn't be in a veil of secrecy as to who and who has procured from there, as well as the lead times for that project. All of that should be public so that we can both hold the contractor to account and the implementing agent, because this veil of secrecy is what makes a 10 billion tender to now skyrocket to 100 billion, because everything around it is in secrecy. We can't, as a business community, as a business chamber, hold that contractor to account because we don't know what are their contractual agreements towards the implementing agent. And then, DP, please open up SARS. Currently, SARS is a nightmare. You must only book to go to their offices online. That system will, if I book on Monday, it will give me or my accountant a date that is in July. And then I need to submit a tender or document next week. So it's impossible. Please tell them to go back, as COVID is gone now. They must open up, must be able to walk in. In closing, Program Director, our mayor touched on the importance of events. I would close off by saying the creative sector, we really appreciate how the province has appreciated it through Gqeberha. I believe there's another telenovela that is coming up. We appreciate that because it shows that both our local and provincial government are open to these new economies, that it's no longer just agriculture, it's no longer just manufacturing businesses that can create jobs. It's also those known to be just other economies that can create jobs. We welcome that, and we believe that through active participation and engagement with both the city and the provincial government, our creative sectors can grow so that they can feed into any other sector, because tourism benefits, manufacturing benefits, many sectors benefit from that. We thank you again for this opportunity, and we hope and believe that the inputs that we've shared with you today will come to bear fruit. Thank you.
Black Money, usamosha imizuzu nje ngibulapho nje Black Management Forum. Look, we must not be under pressure business. Ngongati I saw ziphindi bekho lento. Black Management, okay, is a good. Because Deputy President is confirming that uzawubuya and engage, will come back and engage with businesses and give you half a day, but he will talk about it himself so that you can engage and so on. Quickly.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Program Director. Mandizi Bulisele, apha kulendlu, ndibulise kumkani ezikhoyo nenkosi, ndibulise uPremier weProvince, Mr. Mabuyane, ndibulise undwendwe lwethu, Deputy President Paul Mashatile, no Mama Ekhaya, masithathe ngoba ndinibulise nonke. Mine is not going to be too long, but we are so embarrassed as business, as if we're not organized. There's a Eastern Cape Council that has got blessings of the Premier's office, but it's not functioning because people are fighting for power, leadership. It's embarrassing to come here as segmented business formations, but I think in the near future, Deputy President, you won't experience this kind of activity. Let me rush quickly to the business of the day. The business of the day is all about how we can boost the economy of the area. Some of us are property developers, but it's difficult to actually execute our work because of decisions that are not taken by those who are assigned with that task: public works, rural development, and the municipalities. You go to public works, they say, no, this is not our land. There's still a process. You go to rural development, the same thing. So simile akonto siyenzayo, as if you don't know what we can do. Some government departments, they've got a tendency of under-expenditure because they are doing things that they are not supposed to be doing. For example, education. It's not their core business to build schools. That is a business of public works, same as the Department of Health. So we experience problems that are done by people who are not supposed to be doing that. So, Mr. Premier, siyakucela mhlekazi wami obelekileyo uyiqwalasele kakuhle lo ndawo. Silapha namhlanje, we are talking about boosting the economy of businesses in the area. But kwa venue lesikuyo doesn't talk to that. We are observing as business every day, government departments, municipalities, balapha ICC, nifuna ntoni apha? Nithetha ngo-empowerisha i-black business, but using a white man's facility. It can't be wrong. Since ke singenaxesha ndizawuya kuvuthondaba. Mr. Premier, there are companies here who have been awarded with private hospital licenses. The land has been secured through public works. One project is a 330-bed mental health care as a Bapaya in Mount Cook, former Mount Cook Hospital. Drawings has been passed, everything has been done, but there's no money. That project estimate is about 380 million. Just think of people who can be employed there during construction and after construction. There's also 50-bed subacute step-down facility that is earmarked for East London. The authorization from health still is there. That project is about 130 million. We visited Buffalo City, but the land is not coming forth. I have thought that with the experience of the COVID-19 and this new cholera outbreak, at least we'll be trying now to put additional health facilities, isolation hospitals, and so on. There's also companies who have got 145 hectares of land on the East London King via Berlin corridor, 145 hectares of land, where we say if Human Settlement, together with HDA, they can look at that and put up a mixed land use development. Ayikho lento ka Human Settlement uzokwakha izindlu ezi-1,000 akho ne site ye creche There's nothing. Just 1,000 houses. There's nothing. It has a law, but there's no integrated planning. Then, thinking about social development, we see few white individuals coming from Durban, putting up those facilities. There are black business people who have got accreditation from SHRA, but they're not given a chance to actually do that. I doubt if SHRA will go on. These are the things that we're talking about, where we don't have integrated planning when we do all these things. We have got so many government departments and municipalities. I want to tell you today, what we are doing there is business. All government departments, they are doing business. And that business, we are doing it with private business. I don't see why you can't partner with us and do business. We have got agencies within these government departments, but we don't see what they are doing. They are acting as if they are the extended arm of these government departments. We have got institutions that are supposed to be funding these developments we're talking about, but we don't see their footprint. You can ask someone from IDC now to stand up and tell us, how is their order book structured? How many businesses? I'm talking about significant projects. Not just telling me that someone is came to us, he's a welder, blah, 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 he needs about 30,000. I'm talking about significant projects that are supported by government, where we can have a number of people employed. I've got so many slides, but there's no time, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, but I'll give my colleague Eugene to finish up the presentation. Over to you, Eugene.
Ekokwam ndifuna ubulisa ku Deputy President. Sikubona TV nimhlekazi. Thank you very much. Premier siyabonana thina ngobuso ngobuso. The Deputy Ministers as well siyabulisa. Igama lami nguEugene Mfaka and ndimele something very different. Black Bank. Our president has been talking about a black bank for years, and black banks are not coming up. Instead, they are dying. I am busy researching a black bank that is going to fund black people. Ndicela nje mna support and ndicela into eninzi because our poor people are waiting out there. It's 30 years now. They want to be part of the economy. Thank you.
Molweni bantu. The Honorable Honorable Deputy President, Honorable Mr. Oscar Mabuyane, mandisuke ndinje all protocol observed because ixesha liyahamba. Mine is very simple. It is to introduce what we a networking program esithi nguSymphony networking group. The offshoot of it, is Property Symphony Investments. We are basically a, okay, let me go to my notes before Tete. All right, Symphony Property Investments basically is a 100% black-owned registered company. It mobilizes contributions from the previously disadvantaged individuals and invest such capital in property acquisition and development. Okay, basically our main objectives as well, I'm sure so we capture is that we are pulling funds from previously disadvantaged individuals and investing such funds in property acquisition and development. We are also a vehicle that seeks to be, we also seek to be a vehicle through which the PDIs, that is your previously disadvantaged individuals, get entrenched into the immovable space property, immovable property space, pardon me. We seek to acquire immovable property for development, for sale, for leasing, and for rental. And we seek to contribute to the local economic development through property development and job creation. We've got about 90 shareholders, basically. All right, all of them are black. Most of the investors are individuals and in the entrepreneurial space as SMMEs, as well as a variety of professionals in various fields. So what we do basically, there's just monthly contributions that are put into the basket. To show that we are standing, we've acquired a property already here in Quickney that's paid up for now. We need funds for the development of such a property just behind the IEC, behind here. We've got a property that we own already. We also took opportunity and grabbed a land that was released by one of the local municipalities around here. So that is still in payment. What we are seeking basically is that please make access to funding easy for SMMEs. Otherwise, sizawuyithetha lento manje kuthiwa siyakhasa, sikhase kude kudlule iminyaka 100 oko sikhasa. The political rhetoric and the political will must be matched basically by what the bureaucrats are doing on the ground. Because sometimes kuthiwa imali khona iyafumaneka pha, but ufumanisa into yokubana to access the funding itself is a nightmare. Bakufuna inhloko etrain xa uye khona pha. So that is basically my message. Thank you very much.
Our Deputy President and her beautiful better half, Umhlesis. Our number one, the dear Honorable Oscar Mabuyane, Imbokoto yetu, our mayor, Umam Chawe, all the ministers, the deputy ministers, the HODs, our beautiful councillors over there in Buffalo City, my colleagues, also Mashishini, allow me to say, agree to all in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. My name is Nomthandazo Mntomni Mkhanzana, ndaziwa ngoThandi East London. I am the chairperson of Women in Tourism, as well as the chairperson of the Symphony Property Investment and Symphony Lounge. Le aqabothetha ngayo ubhuti ngoku apha. But I'm gonna dwell on women in tourism. As we all know, Deputy President and Mayor wetu, hospitality industry is the most affected industry with COVID. It needs your intervention when it comes to funding. There was a funding, I think it was called, maybe you all know about it. It was called Tourism Equity Fund, which was challenged by AfroForum. And I'm told that it has been settled. All we are asking from our government is to open it again so that we can recover. Hospitality industry is limping to such an extent that it seems as if we are still facing a pandemic because we are dying. Not only our businesses, because our properties ziyathathwa zi-banks. Our cars, kwa hospitality, asika recovery. Statistics only in the Buffalo City, 70% BNBs are closed because of the pandemic. What the effects of the pandemic to our business. We don't normally ask too much about funding. Please open the equity fund so that we can recover from this pandemic. The processes, my colleague did mention about the red tapes. We will open the funding, but your red tapes are too much. We are asking, we've been saying this, I don't know for how many times, kindly ease the red tapes so that we can access these fundings. We are pleading to our government. Mamchao, new broom sweeps clean. Uthethe kakuhle apha wathetha ngebilling. we've been paying our municipality because we were affording before COVID. And you will see that what you are paying is abnormal, but you don't want your business to close, you pay. We only realized that we've been billed incorrectly when we shut down. Now, sinitwele kwade kwalapha. Usithembisile wathi khonto zawuyenza kula matyala. Mafako, suyenza nje uthethe ngepesenti. Mayikibe i-relief fund yethu khakube kula mali uze nayo sicela 100% write off only osomashishini base Buffalo City. Singamshiyanga udeputy. Xa usongeza deputy president, siyacela wongeze eyokugcinelwa kwamatyala akwamasipala kula mali uzayifaka apha kuMafako. Siyacela deputy president. Last but not least, support sikarhulumente sibalekile. I used to be proud to say, ndisisiqu. I've got 10 properties in East London. One of them is a boutique hotel. I've never asked for a funding. They are personally funded by me, but I wouldn't have owned those properties without our government support. I thank you for supporting us. Keep doing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ndim ngokulombi. Ndim lombi ngoku ingxaki. Look, it's, I don't like it. I don't like these pressurized presentations. But we've just engaged with the Office of the Premier and the Deputy President that all these presentations, because people have prepared presentations, they should be collated, all of them, and be packaged for both the Deputy President and the Office of the Premier, because we are interested in attending to all those issues that have been raised. I've just spoken to the team there to say everyone who presented must just meet the team and then submit his or her presentation to the team there. And then we are going to package them and ensure that everything goes well. Thank you very much. I would now call upon our Honorable Premier to take over the podium, make comments. The Premier will also be ushering in the Deputy President. So thank you very much for your cooperation. My apologies for being under pressure. We are pressed for time. Thank you very much, good people. Honorable Premier.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Program Director. Yesterday you were an acting Premier with the DP, and you told me that you did very well. I have indeed received that feedback from DP. I hope that you were correct. Our Executive Mayor from the Buffalo City, His Excellency, the Deputy President of our Republic of South Africa, Comrade Paul Mashatile, and his better half. Greetings to Mrs. Mabuyane in absentia. Greetings to Mrs. Mabuyane in absentia. If the apology is needed, yeah, oh, shame, the ministers and deputy ministers accompanying the deputy president, the members of executive council, councillors, and business leaders that are here. I would really like to single out Deputy President, the Sanral. Sanral is really doing a very good job in our province. I can't even now remember very well the billions they are putting in. The last time I checked, they were talking about 7 billion and all that. But wherever I go, the work is being done. Our national roads, even our provincial roads that we've given over to them, are being done, and I think very soon they should be announcing something on the Ngocha Road, Ecala Ngocha Road that I visited a few days ago. I'm seeing the chairperson of the board and other board members that are here from Sandra. The problem with the business of Eastern Cape is that business is not yet benefiting properly. That's a major, major, major setback. With all the billions that we're seeing here, because all big companies, grade 9, whatever grades going up, they are always in those other provinces, not here. Our people are only looking at 30%, etc. That's why now we've got problems of Amadela Ngokubona, Amaginza, and Motherwell, etc. People who are demanding protection fees and all that, because they think that to make business is to access 30%, which is a problem. So I think that's the only thing. You know you are accessible, we're discussing, we're meeting you also very soon to make sure that the business, particularly the construction industry in the province, is booming at a time when our province has been turned into a construction site. Good morning to everyone here. HODs are also here and everybody else who is here. I think it is really prudent that before I pass my remarks on what has been discussed in this meeting, I welcome you, the Deputy President, in your official visit, probably first official visit in our province. We're indeed honored, Deputy President, that we are amongst the first provinces you have visited after you assumed the duties as a Deputy President of our country. We are a province that is hard at work, trying to claim its rightful place in economic development of our country. As you know, we used to be a labor ascending province or labor ascending reserve, and still today, many of our citizens migrate to other provinces in search of work opportunities. This is a trajectory we are pushing hard to change, but our efforts need the support of national government, particularly on infrastructure development, hence the SANRAL's active participation in this part of the province. Buffalo City municipality area used to be an employment basket during the Ciskei Bantustan era because there were functional industry or industrial parks such as Fort Jackson and Dimbaza. Due to the struggle for our liberation, those factories unfortunately became victims of our actions, and we are trying our level best now to revive them. I wish you were going to spend a few days in our province so I could take you to some of the areas where these factories are located. I think as you go that other side, you'll be able to see some, even if you will be on your highway. That would give you an idea of why it is important to revive those factories. Hence, we need dedicated funding to rebuild top structures in these industrial parks so that masses of our people in townships and surrounding rural areas can find work. Maybe that you were in Owartambo yesterday, Lusikisiki, Muzahil to be specific. We working hard there to really get our Wild Coast SZ off the ground. We are currently approaching it from the context of an agri-park. We've already had some off-take agreements with some businesses that are going that direction to invest in that part of the province. This is where our biggest problem is. If you talk about migration, there's an inward migration, there's an outward migration. Some are moving from rural areas to urban setup, and we've got only two these urban setup, your metros, Buffalo City, as well as your Nelson Mandela. I can see some changes in Nelson Mandela. I had to be there for a little period and to make sure that there's something happening that side. They've been so quiet. There are businessmen and women who are struggling to get a space to operate their businesses, and agent revival of those factories could solve their problems. You have listened to some few of them presenting here, Deputy President. For a number of years, Deputy President, we have had a challenge of SOE that did not invest in our province. Port of East London has been a victim of that investment struck by SOEs, and that caused a lot of uncertainty in the business sector, because here in Buffalo City, we are hosting Mercedes-Benz factory and the East London SZ, which hosts investors that need functional port to export their goods to the international markets. Our rail corridor has also not been optimal functioning, thus making the cost of doing business in the province extremely expensive. I'm raising this, Deputy President, as a plea to your good office to assist us to have a fair share of investment by SOE, because these are meant to enable the development of the entire country. If there is one SOE that is really doing a great work in our province, as I've said earlier on, it's SANRAL. The road network of our province is tremendously improving because SANRAL embraces their developmental mandate. They have dedicated packages for SMME in the work they do in our province so that local business can also benefit. What we need more of that. In the meeting we had with the executive mayor, with the chairperson, chairman of Mercedes-Benz, really hard stuff. He flew from Germany strictly for that meeting. It didn't go anywhere from the airport straight to the meeting because they are feeling a bit agitated about what is currently happening in our country on the challenges of electricity, the general energy supply, etc. But he says this London plant is his baby because 26 years ago he was a CEO in this plant. But he now is responsible for the entire global Mercedes-Benz family. He says the unfortunate part is to have this world-class plant that can compete in the world, which we as government in South Africa, we are 30 years behind them in terms of the technology. But they are growing in a city that is not growing. And I was happy that Mayor was in that meeting and she listened to that. She said they've been struggling with this thing of getting the international airport into this site for the whole period they've been here. Mercedes-Benz has been in East London for 65 years. You can imagine. Transnet has not been investing in this port for almost 50 years. Whilst they were busy, as we were coming in this morning, you saw a big ship getting into that port. They're taking those cars, because 90% of the cars that were manufacturing here, they are actually consumed in the European market, etc. Hence our worry when the tension continues unabated in Ukraine and Russia, because it's now causing this sort of a consternation in the international market, and we are going to be suffering. As a province, we are mostly dependent on the auto sector, with 43% market share in the entire country. That simply means the more cars are manufactured in our province than anywhere in the country. So if something happens, and with that, whether you go to Volkswagen in Gqeberha, 90% of what they manufacture, they also goes out of the province, goes out of the country to the European market. So we've got to really nudge those countries to understand the importance of global peace. The globalization talks a lot. It's not just about what we see, it's about us working together, developing together, growing together, all the developed countries as well as the still developing countries. The matter of electricity is a threat to industry here in BCM. As Mayor has said, we appreciate the efforts of national government to fix the energy generation and supply in our country. We believe that metros such as BCM should be assisted to have their own electricity generation capacity to cushion particularly industry against electricity interruptions. Our East London IDZ has a pipeline renewable energy project that could create and sustain electricity supply in the metro. Most of the projects are delayed through slow decision-making in government. We are committing to work with you, Deputy President, to unlock such bottlenecks in our system so that we can have agility to get projects off the ground. The Deputy President, one of the areas we need to spend or to attend to vigorously with the business sector is ending the scourge of corruption. And unfortunately, it's difficult when you have seen the polarization in the business. That's what has been making business to have a less and lesser influence on how government has been doing. But we have tried to improve this during this sixth term of our government by directly engaging the business communities through a number of brainstorming sessions, round table discussions, sectorally based round table discussion. But business must organize. We can't continue with what we're seeing, and we expect that we must be all over the show and try to lobby everyone or understand to everyone speaking from different directions. So it's going to be important that you understand that he's correct. There's a provincial business council which has been established through a rigorous process. We want NAFCOG and everyone else to go there so that we've got one centerpiece, a sort of an epicenter of such kind of entrepreneurial ideas, etc., etc. So we are really making that a special play to the business. You are making work of government very difficult, and it's making difficult in such a way that we are unable to also deal with problems like these issues of corruption and et cetera, et cetera. business people suffer losses when they are asked kickbacks transactions. And most of you are actively participating in that. I think there's been a problem in the hospitality industry of cashback. And it's killing the industry every day. As we're speaking here, people, government officials and many other people given money to go and sleep. When they arrive, they want money back from those. And business is cooperating with that. It's bad, it's wrong, it's not helping. That sector is not also growing. So it's another area that we thought that is important to actually crystallize here. But equally important, the state suffer financial losses as prices become inflated. As a nation, we must just draw a line on corruption and learn from the good examples of countries such as China and others. China in 2020, we told it has actually lifted about 800 to 1 billion people out of poverty line. It's not a story in abstract. China since 1949 decided to move that direction in their development trajectory. They've never looked back from their cultural revolution. You go elsewhere, I've gone to UAE, I've arrived in a country, Deputy President, where there is a 0 rate of unemployment. So we're used to high unemployment. In other countries, there is no unemployment. So the 0 rate crime, there's no crime, absolutely no crime. So when we are bringing people like those into our shores to help us move forward, and people will be saying all sorts of things. So the international airport, we're trying to realize a dream that we're starting with that one as a cargo hub, and we believe that business must look at that. Meat of Eastern Cape, that must go to UAE. UAE imports about 99% of what they consume from other countries. So we've got an opportunity in that space. The meat that we're also exporting must be taken logistically through trucks from East London to Johannesburg. Whilst we can have an airport here that can land. Besinibonisa nje bazingahlala ibhaloni ezinkulu apha eEastern Cape so that ningaphithizeli nithethe yonke. So you can continue with your own issues and your own problems. They are going to be landing into that space. Unfortunately, King Williamstown is part of Buffalo City. East London has got a port. It's good to think about expanding into East London so that you develop your metro, a rural metro, into one. KZN moved an airport right under our watch from where it was into that. Now it's an international airport. So how many international tourists that are flooding into that space? So those are good examples that we can think about. So phumani ngekulento bantu ngwasemonti yaseqonqele yeyethu thina we are responsible for the entire province, and we must be able to understand that. So I'm also noting concerns that were raised by the sector. This is a platform for Deputy President. It's always important just to pick up on those issues. And then I think the young fellow who spoke here said it's important that we invest in young entrepreneurs. I'm happy that we said here didn't listen much on tenders, because we have since distorted business into tender issue. Other people are angry so much on other people, especially government leaders, because of tenders. Because people can no longer think outside the box. They think tender. There's nothing else. There's no business without tender. So listening to the entrepreneur ideas that were coming up here, it's a quite exciting thing for me. He says to all of us, you guys in metros and provinces, focus on microeconomics. Leave macroeconomics to Deputy President and all other people national. They must deal with those policies for us. Here, we must talk about how are we opening factories, how are we getting investors to open factories. That's microeconomics for you. So the issue of NEDLEC, point that is making that you need probably to think about MEDLEC. We've got an EXEC here. EXEC is exactly doing what NEDLEC is supposed to be doing. So if CEO of EXEC and all other people, I know it's an entity of Office of the Premier. So business people are saying their voice must still be heard at that point, not only the labor. So let's actually balance that so that we are able to deal with this issue of social compact and make sure that we move together as a country and as a province moving forward. One thing for sure, we are very clear and we've got a clarity of mind on where do we want to take this province forward. We're very, very clear on that one, on the development trajectory. And we're moving on that one with speed. Actually, we're kicking everything in front of us to make sure that we get to where we want to get to. It can no longer be about a story of apartheid and colonialism and all that. It's about a story about us. What are we doing now as we are given an opportunity to lead and leave a very lasting impact for the future generations to come? So it's correct, politics is about influencing, and I fully agree with him. For any economic growth, you need factors of production. In this case, you need land, human resource, capital, and technology. So we've got land, we've got human resource. We might be struggling here and there, but there's a lot of money out there in the private sector. If we're able to join hands and work together with private sector to make sure that we are actually creating a conducive environment for business. If we are working on our road network, that is an enabler. It's a catalyst to really lure in all the investors to come our way, because you are able to address. Our province must be focusing on oceans economy, must be focusing on agriculture. These are key industries for us. That's why we were addressing a maritime conference a few days ago, a continental one in Nelson Mandela, where I was a few days ago. So it's going to be important that we move around. I don't really want to talk about all issues I know, but what I know, government is accessible to business. Sectorally, integrated or organizational. We meet NAFCOC, we meet everyone who wants to see us. So we are continuing with our roundtable discussion to ensure that we don't put pressure on Deputy President and President when they come. They understand that we are able to move. Definitely, in creative industries, our niche. We've identified that when we started this term. Hence, you are seeing your Gqeberha and others, and many more. SABC is also indicating in their big budget, there's less that is happening for Eastern Cape documentaries and others. We're engaging them. So we're putting everyone into the line, and we're actually looking at that issue from quite a serious developmental point of view. Even on the licenses, hospital licenses, I've asked this issue. Why this conservativity in government about these licenses for private hospitals? Hence, you are seeing a lot of hospitals happening here, your Buffalo hospital just adjacent to Frere. There's no need. They can actually work collaboratively to ensure that we are improving the services, health services to our people. And that's exactly what we're doing as government in this. So surely if there's a discussion, that you were raising about that, it's going to be important that we don't wait for a platform like this. We are WhatsApp call away, we are a phone call away. You can indicate at any given time, you'll get an audience with the Premier. If MECs, that ndiyazixelela nazo MECs, zizawundifumana kude ngapha kolwandle, kuba liyawelwa ulwandle. If zirhuqa inyawo, we don't have time to rest on our laurels. We just need to improve agility. The problem of the billing system, and I'm a victim of that, Mayor, please, ndiyatshintsha ke ndibekwe elaa cala xa kufika kule nto billing system. So municipality must sort it out because I'm a resident as well. In this part. So the issue of government not paying, that should be an anathema, and I've put it very clear. We should not really be discussing the issues of payment. Education and health, our biggest problems due to overheating of budgets, etc. But we are attending and resolving those problems because we are killing. And we've been looking at this, Deputy President, Eastern Cape, for the last 4 quarters, it has been declining on high unemployment. We've reduced the high unemployment to a level which is actually showing that we are going down. It's not a fluke. It's a direct response to the work that we're doing as government. It's a direct response to the plan that we've actually tabled, which we're articulating and implementing holistically. We want the entire ecosystem function so that everyone pulls together to make sure that we're able to move forward. So business, taking this or furthering further this discussion, we are available so that we are able to zoom in. You might sit there because you don't have information. And but when we meet together and able to table to you, you might also as well be exposed to the reality. That's why I was worried with another gentleman who wanted to convene a summit, what do you call it? An economic summit said it's an Eastern Cape member of parliament. And I told him that no, there's government in Eastern Cape. You can't do that. So if you've got any ideas, come to us and talk to us. Probably there are plans. I wanted you to probably engage you so that you are part of our investment envoy. There are plans in the Eastern Cape. Transkei is not Eastern Cape, it's Transkei. It's another part of Eastern Cape. We're integrating our province into one, and no one is going to actually confuse. Whether there are elections or not, we're always ready for elections, and I can tell you, Deputy President, this is one province that is not very, very much worried and nervous about coalitions. Our people understand what we are doing, and we are working with them, traditional leaders, religious community, everyone else. Thank you very much. Deputy President, let me usher you. Deputy President Paul Mashatile. Bayathanda ke Deputy President manje besithi kukho o-ambro Deputy President, etc. So this is the real Deputy President, full stop, nothing else. Thank you very much. No ambro Deputy President here.
Thank you so much, Premier, all protocol observed. We are fast running out of time, so I'm going to take it that I've acknowledged all of you in the House. Premier, let me start by congratulating you for outstanding leadership. If you ask me, how do you determine an outstanding leader? My answer is the one who gets things done. You know, first impressions last. Premier, I arrived last night in East London. I noticed two things quickly. Because I've not been here for a while, and one of the things I noticed is that the airport has got a new name. The second one was the road to the airport. So I said to my wife, I think this road looked different. And then she said, yeah, I think they have put 2 lanes going that way and 2 lanes going that way. And you can see there's still touch-ups to finalize, but it's there. Very good, smooth road. So I noticed that. Because one of my characteristics is to notice things. I told this story many times that someone in my office said to me, Deputy President, is your middle name Thomas? Because ngatu kolwa ngokubona. So I saw that and I realized that something is happening in the Eastern Cape. And I was not wrong. By the time I got to Lusikisiki, I saw that things are happening. One of the best reports I've got as I was moving around was from the mayor of the district in OR Tambo. The mayors gave reports. The report was so detailed, so excellent, and I said to her, because we didn't have a lot of time, so the program director was stopping her. Stop, 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 and she kept pushing. So I said to her, I want that report, which she gave me. But thank you very much, Premier, because I think it's important that when we are given an opportunity to lead, we must be focused. National government has come up with plans and everything, economic recovery and reconstruction programs. And at the provincial level, we must focus on implementation. And that's what I see happening here. But also, Executive Mayor, let's give credit to you. Who was paired up in this city? So we're going to give credit to you even when at some point the Premier kicks you. But we give the credit to you as well. Good leadership, Mayor. Let me just start by saying that, and this is what I said yesterday as well, that we need more time. And I've already committed that we will have ministers and deputy ministers. You heard me yesterday, we have to come back. We need to give all sectors enough time. You as business people here, we want to spend half a day with you. But we were caucusing with the Premier that le report yenu ni consolidate so that you don't have too many reports. It must come as one report from business so that it makes life easier. We have one report, then we engage. But give us all those reports. We're going to look at them so that when we come back, we don't start from scratch. What we'll do when we come back, we will give you a feedback from what you said, and then we discuss on that basis. So that's what we're going to do. Now let me tell you why we are here. The president came up with this approach of the district development model, the DDM. It's being implemented all over the country. And the president asked me to go around the country and check if it is being implemented properly and it's working. So that's why we are here to see if the district development model is working. Comrade Castle, I'm told you are our champion here. Oh, the two of you. Okay. The two of you are the champions here. So the champions must make sure that the district development model works. So we are here with other ministers. Minister Tulas is here, Minister Lindy Zulu. Yesterday we visited a project she's supporting, Home Be Home, in Lusikisiki. So ministers and deputy ministers who are here, we are coming to support you as you work with the province and municipalities to make the DDM work. That's the reason why we are here. Now, Premier, I've obviously haven't seen everything, but as far as I've seen, I think the Eastern Cape is not on the right track, as far as I've seen. And we would like to support you to move even faster. The other provinces are also doing it. We're in KZN, and by the way, in KZN also they complained that they wanted me to stay longer because there's a municipality they wanted me to visit and I couldn't. Minister Tulas was also there. But what we want to see, I would like to see provinces competing of who's the best in implementing DDM. So dear Batat, take them. Take them, dear, take them. Show them. So that when other provinces wake up, they must know that they must come to the Eastern Cape to look at the best model. They don't have to go to China. They must come to the Eastern Cape and see the best model of implementation. Now, the good thing with the DDM model is that we pool our resources together. It's not just plans. Obviously, many plans to one plan together. We pool resources together. We implement together. And I want to suggest that we also try and have one report. So when we come to an area and say, let's get a report, if the Minister of Local Government, MEC Williams, if it's you reporting, you will say, this is the report of what we are doing here, and it must cover everybody, including business. So it must be complete. Complete DDM must not just be government, must include all sectors. And so in that way, the DDM will be complete. So many plans to one plan to one report. then we have a good picture of what we're doing. But what we're trying to do is now to have the DDM to be a partnership in action. Kungabi slogan. The time of slogans has passed. We are now focusing on execution. We must make those plans to work on the ground. Let me just mention a few issues that we want to prioritize as national government. One of them is energy. The Premier has already said load shedding is creating problems. The OEMs here, you spoke about Mercedes, they need a continuous, uninterrupted supply of energy. And many industries need that. So we understand it very well, so we've prioritized it. And just to mention a few things we are doing, we are going to procure emergency power. So that decision has been taken. It's something similar to something that Minister Gwede Mantashe tried before, and somebody fought him. I can't remember who, but somebody fought him. Now, we have gone back, and so we said to him, go back there, we support you. So we are busy procuring, so don't be surprised when you see some sheep not far from here. We think we should do that because we need to keep the lights on. Secondly, we will use our coal. And let me qualify what I mean by that. We have coal-fired power stations. Now, when we transit to clean energy, the just transition, people say we must close down our power stations. We don't have a problem there with that, but we're not going to close them now. We're not going to close them now. We are going to close them slowly. So what we're going to do, we are going to check this one can still give us megawatts, whether it's 1,000. We keep it. We keep it. If it needs to be fixed, we fix it. So that we get the necessary electricity that we need to power our own economy. Not that we are resisting to go where everybody's going, but I said when I was addressing business people on Friday last week that we can't be expected to transition in the dark. We can't do that. Yes, we are going there, but we can't transition in the dark. So we have power stations that we can still use. Let's use them. But there's something else we can do. Those who are worried that we want to pollute, let me tell you what we can do. I read that recently Japan said they introduced for their coal a technology for what they call clean technology for coal, so that they can't be seen to be polluting a lot. I actually saw that technology in China as well. So it's there. So as we use our coal-fired power stations, we can mitigate pollution through this technology, rather than running away and say, valane, 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 valane. So we're not going to close. We will close slowly, at our own pace, not at the pace of the big brothers somewhere. You know the big brothers. And Bona, they are not closing. No, but they are asking us, Valan. So we are saying, no, No, we are not going to do it. We will do it at our own pace. And the president has said this. I thought maybe they thought we were joking. The president said we will do this at our own pace, taking into account our own interests. And what are our interests is to ensure that we have enough energy for our people, for our industries, small businesses out there, and our households. You know, when there's load shedding is quite bad. You know, when I was traveling yesterday from Umtata at night, we could see that, because I said to my wife, this place looks very dark. I don't even see one light. And then one of the protectors said, no, it's load shedding. It's load shedding. And it was true. Dark, 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 dark. And now you can imagine, I'm just thinking, what do people do now that they are put in the dark? So, Premier, I want to promise you that we are doing our best. I know that sometimes people think, national government doesn't care. No, we are doing our best to keep the lights on. We are retrofitting some of the old power stations to ensure that people can get electricity for industry, for households. But we've also started work on the renewables. And the private sector, we want you to come on board. You know, the private sector, Premier has been complaining to me that we are not inviting them to participate in generation. I'm inviting you today. Please come. Yes, you are invited. Ozan? Yeah, come. And we're not making excuses. We want you. You see, when governments say we are going to fix ESCOM, we also are happy if the private sector says we are coming with you to fix ESCOM. We'll give you some stake, you know, not maybe the largest, because we want to control it. But come. So we want the private sector to come, let's generate together, let's look at the renewables, gas, solar, wind, battery storage, going forward. So that's what we're going to do. Let me leave the energy issue because I think I've articulated it enough, but just to say that we are concerned about global warming, so don't get me wrong. But the leadership of this country is not interested, doesn't care about global warming. We do. But we have our national agenda to look at. The other issue that I think is important, Premier, is, and I'm happy because you are doing it, is infrastructure development. Roads, bridges, building of schools. I was worried because we got a report in one meeting and somebody said there were children learning under trees. And I said to Minister Motshekga, your children are still learning under trees. And she explained to us what the problem was. But we must make that something of the past. Let's build schools for our children, proper schools. Can you imagine if it's raining? What do these children do under a tree? So those are the things we must do: build schools, build clinics, hospitals, because we need health facilities, sports facilities for young people, dams and bridges. I'm happy that the Deputy Minister yesterday, when we were in Lusikisiki, because there's a place where I saw these young people putting people in a drum to cross a river. So I asked her, where is this place? And she indicated, I think somewhere past Flagstaff, somewhere not far from Lusikisiki, but in the OR Tambo district. But the good news is that yesterday I got report that the bridge is being built. Premier, the bridge is being built. Because that's what we should be doing. I know that the executive mayor, you said you need financial support, well and good. Even yesterday, all the mayors said they need financial support. But let me tell you, money is not always our problem. Iyabuyela imali ku-treasury when work is not being done. So money is not always our problem. Our problem is implementation. Let's get implementation right. You'll see things will happen. But if money is not being spent, is being returned to treasury, we can't complain about money. Let's use the resources we have to be able to achieve our goals. The young person who spoke here was very emphatic about us being able to do things faster, make sure people get licenses faster, get SARS to reopen offices. You know, there are two countries that I saw very interesting things happening that I can't forget. One is Rwanda. I visited Rwanda when I was an MEC in Gauteng to look at how they do developments and so on. I also went to Kenya. But in Rwanda, it was very interesting because when those of you who have been to Rwanda, if you land in Kigali, it's a very clean city. So, Executive Mayor, I'm very happy that one of your programs is to keep the city clean. So I had an opportunity when I was there to meet with the mayor of Kigali, and I asked her one question. Your city looks very clean. Oh, by the way, one of the things she said is that they don't have crime. Zero. You know, ladies can walk 12 midnight. You know, when Lusikisiki, many of our mom were complaining about rape and gender-based violence. In Rwanda, it's zero. Zero. No gender-based violence, zero crime. But I asked the executive mayor there in Kigali, what does she attribute this success to? So, and Premier, she said, I have a performance contract with the president as an executive mayor. I need to perform. If I perform 100%, 90%, 80%, I'll get a bonus. But if I get 60%, I will be fired. Yes. He said if I get 60%, I don't have to ask, I must pack my bags and leave. So that's what Paul Kagame does. No smiling, no talk. You don't meet your performance agreement, you are gone tomorrow. I learned out I was only get the chance, we understand, man. You know, or shorting something. The second one that impressed me was the ease of doing business. You know, when I was in Gauteng Premier, there was a time when we do developments, EIA will take us 2 years. So one day, I was in Parliament, the Premier called me and said, come back to Gauteng, I want you to assist with human settlement. And then one morning he says to me, can you come to the office early? I want to talk to you about something. So I go before cabinet, and then he says to me, in addition to what you are doing, I want you to do something else. Can you assist us to cut red tape in government? So I started with the process, and one of the things I immediately looked at was EIAs. And so we then reduced it from 2 years to 6 months. But of course, it's not good enough, but that was a start when I was there. And I know that they may have pushed it even much less now. Paying off businesses, particularly small businesses, the policy was 30 days. So the Premier called me and says, can we do better? So I came and said, okay, Premier, we've looked at it, we can cut it to 21 days. And the Premier looked at me and said, why not 7 days? So I said, okay, let me go back and look at it. But that's what it is now in Gauteng. You will be paid as soon as you put your invoice. In 7 days, you have gotten everything. I do hope, Premier, I do hope they keep it up. But it's true, because if a service provider put in an invoice, you as a chief director, you look at it and say, okay, we ordered 100 laptops, they delivered 100 laptops, they are all in order. Why not pay them? What are you waiting for? Pay them, because until you've received the goods, they are in order. If they are not in order, you call them and say, no, I ordered 100, I see you've given me 80. So I'm going to pay you for 80, not for 100. But let me then conclude this part by telling the story of Rwanda. So I then asked, when I was meeting with the government in Rwanda, how they deal with this thing. They said, no, in Rwanda, when you put in your invoice, or I think the example they gave me was when you apply for a license. You're applying for a license, you want to start a business somewhere, business whatever. You will receive a response in 6 hours. Not 6 days, 6 hours. And not a response that says, no, we've received your letter, so we thank you very much, we are looking at it. No, a response that says, yes, you will have the license or not. 6 hours. So the ease of doing business to change things can be done. It is being done elsewhere. And I'm sure those of you who have traveled may know that it's not just Rwanda. There are other countries as well that the turnaround makes sure that people are productive, they can do business. So let's strive towards that. Not SARS that respond to someone in 3 months. We must tell SARS that it is wrong to do that. At least Siabaz will tell them, don't do that. If people have applied, respond to them. Others, why are they there? But it must be, government must take a lead, or government departments, the turnaround must be easier for the ease of doing business. So I've made just that example so that you can see that these things can be done. China, I'm sure many of you have been to China. There have been so many delegations to China. One of the successes of China from the 1980s was they came up with clear plans that are measurable. So what they did, Deng Xiaoping introduced what they call 10-year plan. I'm sure some of you might have read about that. So what the Chinese do, they say, what are we going to do in the next 10 years? This one we want to achieve. They plan, they plan, they plan. And when I was in China, when they were taking me through that, they said, look, this is 40 years. we have had 10-year plans for 40 years. So every 10 years we complete our plans, and then we take another 10-year plan. And they say we have made sure that when the 10-year comes, we have achieved what we said we will achieve. China took out more than 700, let me get the number right, you know. I'm trying to remember it. I was in 700,000 million. Yeah, but Premier, it was a big number. It was a big, it was such a big number. Yeah. Minister Ngesi, you want to help me? You seem to know about this. Okay, but it was a big number. You know, Chinese, they've got a big population, I think it's 1.5 billion. So almost half of that, I think 700 million. 700 million people were taken out of poverty in the space of 30 years. Out of poverty. We don't have that kind of population, but we can come up with our target and say, we as South Africa, we would like to ensure that 10 million people are taken out of poverty in the next 10 years. And plan for it. And plan for it. We must be very rigorous, we must be bold, we must want to achieve the impossible. They are doing it in China. Those of you in China before 1980, you'll know that the China of Mao, they were just chalets and so on. If you go to China now, you go to Shanghai, it's better than New York. They have done it. I was looking recently, they were building a high-speed train under the sea. High-speed train under the sea. So it can be done. We you know, I was saying one day when I was dreaming, I said to some my friends, you know what I want? I want to build a road and a bridge from Waterfall to Robben Island. And somebody says, "No, man, you are mad." I said, it can be done. You know, I said, it can be done. No, suddenly you don't have problem of boats. People can drive to Robben Island, tourists, they can walk there. We can even have a marathon starting from Robben Island because there's a road over the sea. It can be done. If you dream big and you are bold, it can be done. The Chinese are doing it. Let me conclude because me and Premier need to go somewhere to see. There are things we must see. Let me conclude by saying we're going to come back and we're going to give you more time to go through the issues that you were dealing with. But I'm very happy we have our champions here, mapping Tatani Matal. It's Mbengwinala. These are our champions. Let's make the DTM work. There's no other way. Work together, pool our resources together. We will come back, and when we come back, we will give you more time as business people. But we also want to meet Abo Mama separately. You have issues, Sangit? Yes, we want to give you your time. Young people, we want to give you your time. Young people have good ideas. One say we must build a black bank. I've taken his number, so I called him. I said, give me your number because it's a very interesting way of thinking. And the reason why I want to talk to him because in February, I met with 2 banks. We are working on that project already. So I will pull him in. But we are not working on building a black bank in South Africa. I want a black bank that will be biggest in the continent. So I've taken his number, we'll be talking to him, but otherwise I'm very happy to be here and I want to see more of what you're doing, but you know, umuntu mayenza imisebenzi emihle, we must say so. We must commend them. So Eastern Cape, I will tell the president that you are doing good work. And I will say to the president, we are going back with the ministers to the Eastern Cape to continue to work with them. And Premier, those SOEs that are not doing their work will approach them. You talked about Transnet. Sandral is already doing a good work. You can see the roads that a lot of work's been done here. But you know, you are on the coast. Yeah, you are one of those provinces that must thrive in ocean economy. So we need to be able to get Transnet to be able to do its part as well. So thank you very much for receiving us. I've noted most of the things that have been raised. We'll get all those reports, and then we will come back and engage more with you. Thank you very much, Akens.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, our Deputy President, for the words of wisdom and encouragement for us to do more and perform better as government and try to ensure that red tape is reduced and government, the three spheres perform meticulously better. And that requires a politically astute system. Now we are really running, we have ran out of time actually. But the people of Buffalo City, Your Excellency Deputy President, would want to honor you with some present together with your wife. So I would like the Premier of the province and both Your Excellency, Deputy President, and your wife to come to the podium, and then the Executive Mayor of Buffalo City, so that the awards can be made to Your Excellency and his wife. Thank you very much. Ikuweke, Mamshawe.
Yabona ke DP i-disadvantage yohamba nenkosikazi kuba amavolontiya bemaninzi abebeza kunxibisa insimbi ngoku benza ngongathi ungakabaqhelanga uyenza lo, so babiza mna bamandizokunika ngokwam. Ngoku ke abamthwalisanga qhiya kuba kuyabonakala bebebhalele ku-deputy president abebebhale khona.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We received 2 apologies, Honorable Deputy Minister Kapa and Mr. Macingwane from Business, NAVCOC. They apologized. Can Councillor Maselan, can you quickly come and do a vote of thanks? Because we have to run to Mngesha Great Place now from this meeting, because the Deputy President does not have the whole day. Thank you.
Greetings to yourself. Greetings to yourself, Honorable Program Director, MEC Williams. Greetings to the Honorable Deputy President, the Honorable Premier, Ministers, Deputy Ministers, MECs, the Executive Mayor, and all MMCs present here, traditional leaders. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning everyone. Dingakhange bekanti nishiya abantu ababalulekileyo mandivele ndithi ingqanga nentsiba zayo. It is a great honor and a privilege for our city to host such a classic business breakfast with the Office of the Deputy President. We are gathered here today in the month of May, where many of our learning institutions were celebrating the graduations. We are also here today 2 days after the 60th anniversary of the unity of Africans. Of course, we are still within the month of Africa. This year's Africa Month celebrated under the theme, My Code, deepening the AU vision for unity for Africa through prosperity, peace and modernity, for a better Africa and a better world, close quote. Minister Ramakgopa said in her speech, we must continue to cultivate and celebrate the strides made by the AU and Africa broadly in harnessing the economic, human, and cultural and natural treasures in our continent. She continued to say we need to capitalize the transformative mandate of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement to unite us all towards the shared continental interest that will accelerate trade and investment, harness innovation and creativity, and improve the livelihoods of our people. Program Director, on behalf of our municipality, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our esteemed guest, the Deputy President, Ministers, Premier, MSCs and traditional leaders, and business people present here today. Thank you. Sincere thanks to the heads of various departments who have handled the event throughout from the planning stage till now. And a wide round of applause thanks to all the participants who have made the event a memorable one. Finally, I would like to thank you all present here for making the time to be with us today and helping us make this event a success. Nadeli Ngqela, Nadeli Ngubo, Nabalapha. In all what was said today, what is important to all of us as these stakeholders, if we are not in one voice, one mind, and not united, we are not going to be able to achieve all what was said here. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you very much. What we are going to do now is that the Honorable Premier and the Deputy President, all ministers, I will start everyone. Okay. Just after this, a picture of business and the Deputy President and the Premier, start everyone, Deputy President, Honorable Premier, Deputy Ministers will then move out of the venue towards Mngesha, then everyone else can follow. Thank you very much. Can I allow that period of the picture, and then the Deputy President and the Premier can lead all of us out of this venue towards the Mngesha Great Place. Thank you very much. You've been a cute audience. Thank you very much for that performance.